everyone, it's Cass. Welcome back to my channel, whatcassread. I am embarrassingly a little bit out of breath because I just took the thumbnail for this video and there are some gigantic books that we're about to talk about because we're here to talk about intimidating TBRs. I'm here today with the intimidating TBR tag. As per usual, the questions are on my phone, so let's get started. All right, question number one is, what book have you been unable to finish? The first book that I have to mention is Ruin, written by Gwynne. This is book number 3 of the Faithful and the Fallen series. Maybe you remember from a couple TBRs and wrap-ups ago, I have read book number 1, and then I was gonna do and catch up with everyone on the Faithful and the Fallen read-along that was hosted by Frankie Reads. I was probably supposed to finish this book in December. I brought it with me on my vacation, and then I just ended up not getting to it because I ended up finishing The Hero of Ages, which you've already seen my review for if you've been checking that out on this channel. It's not that I crave fast-paced books, but this one was just kind of like, we're just going through the motions, we're going through the paces. I was really feeling this one being the 3rd out of a 4-book series. Everything we're being set up for is not going to be important in this book. It's going to be important for the next final book. All right, question number 2 is, what book have you yet to read because, and then there's a bunch of prompts. So the book that I have yet to read because I just haven't had the time. Okay, for that book, I have The Red Knight, written by Miles Cameron. This is book number 1 of the Traitor Sun cycle. There are 5 books in total in this series. My bigger series are things that I just have been really slow to pick up, and I haven't been gravitated to them. The Red Knight, like I said, is book number 1 of the Traitor Sun cycle. What I know is they're these like sellswords, or they're not mercenaries, but I think there's just like this group of men that are sellswords who have been hired by a nunnery to protect them because they're like on the edge of civilization and the wild. And in the wild, there's just a ton of monsters, dragons being some of them, wyverns being some of them. So this, I've heard really positive things about, both from some of my favorite fantasy gurus, being Kitty G and Sam's Nonsense. Both of them have read this series and really enjoyed it. But I haven't gotten to it because I just, in my head, I perceive that I'm like so limited on time and can't get to this. Anyways, this is The Red Knight, written by Miles Cameron. Okay, the next book that I haven't gotten to yet because it's a sequel. And this is Bloody Rose, written by Eames. I've put this book in so many videos thinking I was gonna get to it. It's not necessarily because this book is a sequel, it's just I kept trying and starting and trying and failing. The next time I pick this up will be like the 3rd time I pick this book up. You know, hopefully 3rd time's a charm, but this is a sequel, haven't gotten to it. All right, the next question, the next book is, what book have I yet to read because it's brand new? And that I have The Gilded Wolves, written by Roshani Chokshi. I always have a hard time saying her last name. It just, the consonants trip me up. But anyways, this book literally just came out this month, maybe last week, January 15th, I think was the release date. This is a sneak peek at my January birthday book haul. So I literally just got this book in the mail. So The Gilded Wolves is this 18th century Parisian atmosphere, but it's like a fantasy atmosphere, historical fantasy. Some mention of secret societies. There's mention of like a heist story, and I've heard really positive things from Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. Again, I'm going on the faith from my like fantasy gurus that I'm picking up some good books. So this one, brand new, haven't gotten to it yet. All right, what book have I yet to read because I read a book by the same author and then I didn't enjoy it? So I'm not necessarily picking on V.E. Schwab, but this is A Gathering of Shadows. This is book number 2 of the Darker Shades of Magic trilogy. I have read the first book, being A Darker Shade of Magic, have a full spoiler and spoiler-free review of that book on my channel. I rated that 3 out of 5 stars. And then I have just finished Vicious, and I also rated that 3 out of 5 stars. So I'm just like really slow to pick up on some more V.E. Schwab because I just feel like with these 2 different series, I'm just not sure if her writing is for me. It's not that I'm hating on her books, but they're just very average because I find her writing to be very average. What also pains me is that the stories themselves sound like they're gonna be like super awesome and badass, but her writing, she just can't deliver. What book have I yet to read because I'm just not in the mood for it? I've also put this book in several videos. This is Winter, written by Marissa, Meyer, the 4th and final book of the Lunar Chronicles. I should literally like just finish this book already because it's the 4th and final book. Like, just get it over with, just finish it. But I honestly haven't really cared about it. haven't been in the mood for it. I did start it, got through like 100 pages, maybe 200, I don't know. It's an 800-page book. I don't remember the last time I mentioned this book, but I was kind of thinking like, should I just unhaul this series already? Because like there's nothing that's drawing me to completing this book, even though this is all you've got left. And then your story will be done. I don't know, what do you think? What book have I yet to read because it was a cover buy that turned out to have some poor reviews? I don't think the reviews for these two books were necessarily like super bad. But this is Furthermore and Whichwood, written by Tahareh Mafi. These are two middle grade novels that were legitimate cover buys. There was really not that much inside me to be motivated to read these books. They sounded interesting, but it was honestly because I thought the covers were so awesome that I bought these. And then the people that have read these books, reviewed them, have just marked them as average. They weren't super mind-blowing. Is that because it's a middle grade novel? Who can say? Okay, two more books. And these last two books legitimately just intimidate me. So the final question is, what is the most intimidating book on your TBR pile? This is World Without End, written by Ken Follett. This is technically book number 2 in the Knightsbridge trilogy because Column of Fire came out a couple of years ago. And this is the sequel to one of my favorite books of all time, The Pillars of the Earth. Ken Follett writes massive, chunky books. This one is just under 1,000 pages, like 980 something. I know that I will get sucked into this book whenever I pick it up because Ken Follett's writing just does that for me. It just does. But this is so intimidating. Is it intimidating because it's the follow-up to Pillars of the Earth? Probably not, because this book takes place centuries after the Pillars of the Earth, so I don't expect the town of Knightsbridge to be the same. But it's literally the size that gets to me. And the final book that I want to showcase today for intimidating TBR, this is The Way of Kings, written by Brandon Sanderson. This is book number 1 of the Stormlight Archives. Like I said, I'm working my way through Sanderson's books, and I do have a goal to make it to The Way of Kings, but I just really want I want all the different pieces from the different books before I get to this one. This intimidates me because it's just big. That's it. I feel like I've talked about this before. Like, I love reading big books. That's my favorite thing to be a part of. But for me, big is starting at 700 pages. Like, I feel like 500 pages is probably my sweet spot. But a book to me starts feeling very large when it's over 700 pages. Over 900 pages definitely is when I start like, whoa, we need to finish this book up already. So that's why those two books, haven't gotten to them yet. So put some comments in the comment section below. Have you read any of these books? What are your thoughts? Did they intimidate you? Are there any books on your TBR that are just way too intimidating for you, but you refuse to take them off your TBR? If you want to follow me on my social media, that's at whatcassread. It's the same as this channel, so it should be super easy for you to find. And then, of course, you can also follow me on my Goodreads account, and that link is always going to be listed down below. Otherwise, you know how these videos end. I will talk to you later. Bye.